final seconds are raw and chaotic. A man's breathing, short, sharp, frantic, echoes over the sound of rushing water. The camera is shaky, bouncing between thick green leaves and dark branches. Then, the whisper comes, desperate, barely audible. "Something's following me." A wet snap of branches. Then, nothing but the gurgling plunge of the GoPro sinking beneath the river's surface. That's where it ends. Recovered months later from a sandbar deep in the Brazilian Amazon, the footage was corroded but partially intact. It was time-stamped August 2020. The GPS coordinates embedded in the file point to a stretch of Blackwater tributary in the Javari Valley, a place few outsiders ever reach, and even fewer return from. The man behind the lens was 31-year-old adventure vlogger Nathan Hale, a Florida native known for documenting obscure river routes and forgotten jungle trails across South America. He had a steady following. Thousands tuned in for his calm narration, slow canoe shots, quiet respect for local cultures, and his signature sign-off, "See you downriver." But after posting a series of Instagram updates, short clips showing his canoe moving through narrow, winding waters, Nathan went completely silent. No new uploads, no messages, no replies. His satellite phone stopped transmitting. His final text to his sister read, "Camped near marker 67. Locals say not to go past it. I'll explain later." He never explained. For weeks, his family believed he was simply offline. A glitch, a dead battery, maybe a broken phone. But days turned into weeks, and Nathan never reappeared. Eventually, an indigenous guide found his backpack, waterlogged, half buried near the river's edge. Inside, clothes, a solar charger, insect repellent, and the GoPro still inside its waterproof case. It had taken in water anyway. The camera held 2 hours of footage, most of it uneventful. Nathan paddling in silence, mist curling over the river, distant bird calls. But in the final 2 minutes, the mood shifts. He begins glancing behind him. His voice grows tight. His breathing accelerates. Then, nothing but leaves, breath, and water. And yet, that whisper, "Something's following me." 3 years later, no trace of Nathan has been found. No body, no confirmed sightings, no ransom, nothing on the dark web, just that cracked lens and the silence it captured. This is not a story of reckless tourism or ignored warnings. This is a case where the experienced vanished anyway. A man who knew what he was doing. A traveler who had mapped out his route and left digital breadcrumbs every step of the way, until they simply stopped. And for his family, that silence has become unbearable. What happened to Nathan Hale in the depths of the Amazon? And what did the camera really capture before it fell beneath the water? Let's retrace his steps. Nathan Everett Hale was born in Gainesville, Florida on March 19, 1989, the middle child in a family of five. He grew up surrounded by lakes, woods, and the slow winding rivers of north-central Florida. His mother, Angela, was a high school biology teacher. His father, Everett, managed a local hardware store and spent weekends taking the kids fishing, teaching them how to patch canoes, tie knots, and read weather by cloud patterns. Nathan was the quiet one, not shy, but deliberate. He'd disappear into the woods behind their property for hours with just a pocket knife and a notebook. As a teenager, he worked part-time at a kayak rental company and used his tips to buy a second-hand GoPro. That was the beginning. He never wanted to be famous. His sister Lila remembers how he used to say, "I don't want to be on camera, I want to hold the camera. That way I get to see everything first." After high school, Nathan studied environmental sciences at the University of Florida. He was fascinated by biodiversity, particularly in river ecosystems. But by his second year, he was already restless. The classroom wasn't enough. He took a semester off, then another. By 2012, he dropped out and started traveling full-time. He called it field education. His early content was raw, short videos of canoe trips across Georgia, Louisiana, and eventually the Peruvian Amazon. But his following grew quickly. By 2016, his YouTube channel, Downriver, had over 120,000 subscribers. His audience wasn't drawn by clickbait or stunts. Nathan's appeal came from how quietly he moved through wild places. He never spoke over the jungle. He let it speak first. He had a minimal social media presence. His Instagram was simple. Single photos, no filters, short captions, often just GPS coordinates or local names for rivers. He rarely showed his face, only his voice, and sometimes his hand pushing aside vines or steering a paddle. Nathan's gear was rugged but basic. He traveled with a waterproof drone, 2 GoPros, a Canon M50 for stills, and a satellite phone. He edited videos himself, uploading them in batches when he returned to cities with reliable internet. He wasn't reckless. Family and friends emphasized that often. Nathan wasn't chasing danger. He took first aid courses. He left detailed travel itineraries with both family and local contacts. He learned basic Portuguese. He carried printed maps in waterproof sleeves, even when he had digital backups. In 2018, he spent nearly 4 months in Ecuador documenting tributaries of the Napo River. In 2019, he worked alongside a local NGO mapping illegal gold mining sites in the Rio Madre de Dios region of Peru. Those close to him say that trip changed something. He became more cautious, more private. He also became more obsessed with the Amazon. His final trip, planned for mid-2020, was meant to be different, smaller, quieter, a solo journey into one of the least mapped river systems on Earth, the Vale do Javari in western Brazil. He told his family it would be a 2-week trip. 3, max. He'd charter a small float plane from Tabatinga to a remote outpost, then navigate downriver by canoe. He wanted to document the convergence of traditional indigenous navigation methods and GPS mapping. He believed it could become a long-form video series. His final videos show him excited but composed, no bravado, just Nathan surrounded by green, narrating in a low, calm voice. In one, he points out a collapsed tree near the waterline. "This wasn't here last year," he says. "This whole bend has changed. The river keeps rewriting itself." He had no known enemies, no record of mental illness, no debts. He didn't drink or use drugs. His romantic life was private, though his sister confirmed he had a long-distance partner in Argentina, whom he was planning to visit after the trip. When asked what made Nathan different, his childhood friend Tyler put it simply, "He didn't go to the jungle to escape anything. He went there to listen. And that's what made losing him feel so wrong. He respected the place. He knew the risks. He prepared for them. So why did this happen?" To his family, that question still hangs in the air like the mist in his videos, silent, heavy, and without direction. And when the camera was found months later, it only raised more questions. Let's look at the route Nathan planned to take, what he packed, what he posted, and where the trail began to blur. Nathan Hale's final journey began with precision. According to emails and saved itineraries recovered from his laptop, he spent over 2 months planning the August 2020 trip. He called it his Reverse Echo Expedition, a solo canoe journey following historical trade and migration routes used by indigenous communities in the Vale do Javari region. He wanted to document how the forest and river had reclaimed paths that once connected dozens of remote villages. He flew from Miami International Airport on July 27, 2020, arriving 2 days later in Tabatinga, Brazil, a border town in Amazonas state sitting at the tri-point of Brazil, Colombia, and Peru. It's one of the last launch points before the true wild begins. His plan, mapped out in Google My Maps, was to charter a small float plane to a riverside landing near the Itui River, then descend by canoe through a network of tributaries until reaching the Solimões. From there, he'd catch a ferry back to Tabatinga. He packed light but deliberately. In addition to standard jungle gear, mosquito netting, MREs, iodine tablets, rope, a machete, and a compact first aid kit, he carried a 13-foot inflatable canoe with aluminum frame support, 2 GoPros, one mounted, one handheld, a Canon M50 with a water-resistant lens, a DJI Mavic Pro drone with 4 backup batteries, Garmin GPS Maps 66i with in-reach satellite messaging, printed maps annotated with distances and elevation notes, solar charger with dual USB, Portuguese and Ticuna phrasebook, waterproof notebook, pens, and field sketching set. He left behind a complete travel plan with his sister Lila, including contact information for a local guide in Tabatinga named Carlos Almeida, who had worked with Nathan during a 2017 trip. Carlos met him at the airport, helped him resupply, and secured a float plane pilot willing to drop Nathan near a remote tributary 3 days upriver. That pilot, Miguel Torres, was the last confirmed person to see Nathan alive. Miguel later stated, he was calm, focused, said this was something he'd been dreaming about for years. Miguel dropped him at a small landing strip near the Itakwe River on August 1st, 2020. The GPS coordinates from the GoPro's metadata show Nathan began recording within 30 minutes of arrival. His final social media posts align with the plan. On August 2nd, he uploaded a photo to Instagram, a narrow river under a heavy canopy, golden light filtering through the mist. Caption, T78, river speaks loudest at dawn. On August 4th, he posted a short clip to YouTube titled First Bend, First Breath. It showed quiet paddling through a twisting oxbow channel. He whispers, no motors, no fences, just flow. Then, silence. His last known message was a satellite text to Lila on August 5th reading, made camp at marker 67. Locals said not to go past it. Will explain when I'm back. Love you. That marker, 67, refers to a faded kilometer pole from an old NGO survey mission done years prior. No official trail crosses there. It lies between two indigenous territories that remain largely uncontacted. Several days later, Lila tried messaging again, no response. The Garmin device never pinged again. Its last known transmission was logged at 3.2148 days S, 70.1253 days W, a dense patch near the Itui-Itaquai junction, known for its shifting banks and thick underbrush. He had set up geo-fencing alerts with his tracking device, automated messages that would send if he crossed certain zones. None were triggered. It was as if the forest swallowed him before he had the chance. Weeks later, investigators would find the device still inside his dry bag, powered off, battery drained. The coordinates inside the device matched the camera footage's metadata, proving he had at least made it partway through the planned route. In reviewing the footage, investigators noted several key markers. August 2nd, drone footage showing wide bends and tributary splits, no signs of human activity. August 3rd, time-lapse of riverbank erosion. Nathan speaks softly. The forest is moving. I keep hearing it at night. August 4th, still footage of stormy sky, audio distortion, wind, no commentary. August 5th, the final footage, panicked breathing, a whisper. Something's following me. A sharp snap of branches. The GoPro falls into water, ends mid-breath. But what's missing is just as important. No camp setup video, no goodbye message, no mention of being injured, lost, or afraid. It was as though the unease appeared suddenly. And then everything unraveled. Let's look at the moment everything went silent and how the first signs of trouble emerged. The first signs that something was wrong appeared quietly. There was no dramatic alarm, no emergency signal, no automated distress call from Nathan's Garmin. Just absence. A long, stretching silence that shouldn't have been possible for someone as disciplined and communicative as he was. Nathan was expected to send daily satellite texts, short ones. Even a single word was enough. Okay. Camped. Moving. His family didn't need long messages, just proof of life. On August 6th, that rhythm broke. At 9:12 p.m. Eastern Time, Lila checked her phone. Nothing. She waited an hour. Then another. She sent him a message anyway. A simple, "How's the river today?" The Garmin server showed no outgoing pings. No inbound pings either. It was unusual, but not alarming. Cloud cover, dense canopy, or a drained battery could cause delays. She went to bed telling herself it was fine. By the morning of August 7th, she was no longer reassured. Still no message. She called Carlos in Tabatinga, who immediately tried Nathan's Brazilian SIM. Straight to voicemail, no signal. That too wasn't impossible. Most of the Javari Valley had no cell coverage at all, but the combination of a silent satellite device and an unreachable phone made Carlos uneasy. He contacted the floatplane pilot, Miguel, who confirmed Nathan had planned to reach a checkpoint along the river by August 6th. It was a natural landing point used by researchers. If Nathan had made it there, he could have tried to reposition for better satellite access. The fact that he hadn't communicated at all began to feel like a warning. By August 8th, the family involved the U.S. Embassy in Brasilia. Due to the remoteness of the region, Brazilian authorities couldn't launch an immediate ground search. First, they needed coordinates, last known direction of travel, and confirmation that Nathan wasn't simply delayed by weather or a malfunctioning device. But weather that week wasn't catastrophic. Rain, yes. August in the Amazon often brings heavy afternoon downpours, but nothing out of the ordinary. No major storms, no reported flooding, nothing that should have erased a seasoned traveler without leaving a trace. On August 9th, Carlos decided to travel upriver with a small group. They reached the checkpoint where Nathan was expected to appear. No canoe, no campsite, no footprints, just river debris and stillness. The men waited for hours, blowing a whistle and calling Nathan's name between the drone of insects. No answer. On August 10th, after pressure from the embassy and local authorities, a coordinated search effort began. The region's indigenous protection agency, FUNAI, was contacted for support. Because the area bordered territories of uncontacted tribes, any search had to be handled with extreme caution. No helicopters at first, no drones in certain zones. Ground teams needed permission to enter specific areas. Meanwhile, Nathan's family was unraveling. His father, Everett, left Florida the moment he heard the words unresponsive device. His mother, Angela, could barely speak on camera during the first press inquiry. She said only one sentence: "He always told us where he was." The first break came on August 12th. Searchers found a piece of bright orange nylon tangled in roots along the river's edge. It matched the material of Nathan's dry bag, the one he used for electronics. A few feet away, they found faint drag marks leading toward the water. At first, the team feared it was evidence of an animal encounter. Jaguars, caimans, anaconda, anything was possible. But the marks were inconsistent with a violent struggle. No blood, no torn earth, no broken branches, just smooth, shallow tracks, as if something much heavier than the bag had been placed or had collapsed onto the wet ground, then been partially pulled or shifted by the current. On August 13th, they discovered the canoe. It was lodged between low branches, half deflated, caught against a tangle of fallen limbs about 2 kilometers from the campsite marker 67. The paddle was missing. The frame supports were intact, no signs of puncture or attack. The oddest detail was a thin strip of duct tape along the left side of the canoe. Investigators later noted that the adhesive was clean, unstained by mud or algae, meaning it had been applied very recently, within a day of the disappearance. But Nathan's gear list showed no duct tape. His supply bag, found later, contained rope and repair patches, not tape. The origin of that strip remains unexplained. By August 15th, the silence surrounding Nathan's devices became the defining concern. The Garmin GPS Map 66i was designed to send automated pings in 30-minute intervals when powered. Even if the antenna was obstructed, the moment the device detected a break in the canopy, even seconds, it should have attempted a ping. The log showed nothing after August 5th at 21:47 UTC, not even a failed attempt, which meant one of 3 things: the device was powered off, destroyed, or shielded. His backpack surfaced next on August 18th. It had drifted between 2 sandbars, trapped under a layer of silt and roots. Inside, everything was damp but identifiable. The Garmin was still in a sealed pocket, battery fully depleted. His notebook was intact, but the last page had been torn out. No one could determine when or why. The GoPro was found wedged in the same debris, its waterproof case cracked, waterlogged but recoverable. They couldn't retrieve digital files until days later, after specialists extracted and stabilized the memory card. During that window, the investigation stalled. No tracks, no witnesses, no signs of wildlife predation, no signs of human conflict, just missing time. But once the GoPro footage was restored, everything changed. The footage didn't explain what happened, it only sharpened the dread. Because the final seconds didn't feel like a panicked man lost in the jungle. They felt like someone, or something, was closing in on him. The disappearance was no longer just a matter of a traveler gone quiet. It became a case defined by the one thing he never should have left behind: his camera. The official search began on August 10, 2020, 5 days after Nathan Hale's last known transmission. By then, the trail had already begun to cool. The jungle reclaims everything quickly. Paths blur, objects vanish under leaves, and even the scent of human presence fades in hours. Brazilian federal police coordinated with local authorities in Tabatinga and the Indigenous Protection Agency, FUNAI. But because Nathan's last known location bordered protected uncontacted tribal lands, every movement required clearance. No helicopters, no night patrols, no loud generators. The jungle wasn't just dangerous, it was politically sensitive. The first search team included 6 local guides, 2 military police officers, and 1 FUNAI representative. They traveled upriver from Tabatinga using motorized canoes, stopping to speak with riverside communities who might have seen a lone foreigner passing through. None had. 3 days in, they reached kilometer marker 67, a rusted metal pole buried in vines, nearly invisible unless you knew what to look for. It was just as Nathan had described in his final message. Near the marker, they found an old campsite, ashes, a burned leaf pile, a trampled patch of earth near a fallen tree, plastic packaging that matched the MRE brand Nathan used, but nothing personal. No camera, no clothes, no hammock, no signs of a struggle. Just the strange quiet of a recently used site already being swallowed by the forest. The nearby riverbend became the focal point. Teams used long poles to probe underwater snags. They fanned out on foot, mapping terrain using GPS grids. It was slow, suffocating work. The underbrush was thick, full of spiders, wasps, and thorny lianas. Visibility dropped to less than 10 feet in places. They used machetes to mark trees, then doubled back every 300 meters to regroup. On August 13th, they found the canoe wedged against a submerged log jam, one side partially deflated. It was upside down, but not badly damaged. Tied to it with twine was a plastic bottle containing a strip of paper. It was a backup data log Nathan sometimes used, just in case digital storage failed. The paper was blank, damp, ink washed away. But the presence of the bottle confirmed something. Nathan was still recording, still cataloging his trip, even in analog form. Drones were eventually deployed, limited to altitudes that wouldn't disturb wildlife. The first flyovers showed nothing, canopy too dense. But one thermal drone recorded a curious anomaly, a heat signature near the riverbank that appeared and then vanished. Human-sized, upright, then gone. Investigators couldn't confirm if it was animal or something else. The jungle produces strange signals. The real breakthrough came on August 18th. A secondary search party located Nathan's backpack buried beneath reeds near a muddy inlet. Inside, they found a water-damaged journal, solar charger, his second GoPro intact, the Garmin GPS device powered off, a half-used insect repellent, a bundle of dried leaves tied with fiber cord. The journal was mostly blank. Only the first few pages had entries, chronicling water depth, weather, and bird calls. But the last page was torn out. That sheet was never recovered. What wasn't found was equally troubling. His drone, his main camera, his food supplies, his hammock, and both paddles. And there were no boot prints nearby, no trail leading away. It was as if the bag had been placed, not dropped. Specialists were flown in from Manaus to analyze the GoPro. After weeks of water exposure, the device had begun to corrode, but the SD card was salvageable. The footage showed quiet paddling, bird calls, rain drumming on the canopy. One eerie sequence filmed August 4th shows Nathan staring into the lens without speaking for a full minute, then turning the camera toward the forest without explanation. On August 5th at 1822 UTC, the final recording begins. It's 43 seconds long. Nathan's breathing is audible, fast, shallow. The camera is pointed at the ground, swinging. Branches snap behind him. He whispers, "Something's following me." The leaves shift, a low thump. The lens flares briefly as the camera spins. Then water, the gurgle of submersion, silence. The audio was isolated and enhanced. In the final 2 seconds, analysts identified 3 distinct sounds beyond Nathan's voice. 1, branches breaking under pressure. 2, a second, more distant breath. Lower, slower. 3, a metallic ping, like something brushed against his equipment. Forensics could not determine what made those sounds. On August 21st, a new lead emerged. A fisherman named Elias from a tiny settlement downriver claimed to have seen a white man near the banks 2 days after the last confirmed GPS ping. He said the man looked confused, barefoot, and holding something shiny in his hand. When shown a photo of Nathan, Elias hesitated, then nodded. "Yes," he said, but his eyes looked wrong, like he didn't know where he was. Authorities took the report seriously, but there were no further sightings. Dogs brought to the area caught a weak scent. Trail near the river, but lost it within meters. No tracks, no discarded gear, no more clues. Private investigators hired by the Hale family joined in late September. They brought their own specialists, former military trackers, wilderness survival experts, satellite imagery analysts. One of them, Diego Marquez, wrote in his report, "This was not a man who wandered off trail. This was not someone overwhelmed by terrain. Nathan was methodical. What happened to him was rapid, deliberate, and concealed." The last attempt to search by drone occurred in early October, once foliage began thinning. High-resolution images showed nothing unusual until frame 273 of flight log D17. In it, partially obscured by trees, is what appears to be a structure, angular, metallic, less than 4 meters wide. It does not appear on any official maps. The image was later dismissed as pareidolia, a trick of shadow and foliage. But Lila Hale wasn't convinced. She kept that frame, printed it, and pinned it above her desk. It sits beside a photograph of her brother smiling with a paddle in one hand and a camera in the other. The investigation had reached a wall. The jungle had closed over again. But theories were beginning to form. Not just about where Nathan went, but about what else might have been there. From the moment Nathan's GoPro footage was recovered, the case shifted from a missing person report to something far more complex. There was no definitive evidence of violence, no proof of an accident, but the circumstances surrounding his final days raised chilling questions. Theories emerged, some grounded in logic, others spiraling toward the unexplainable. Yet all of them, in one way or another, attempted to answer a single question. What happened after Nathan whispered, "Something's following me"? Theory 1, a fatal accident. The first and most conservative theory suggests Nathan simply got lost or injured in the jungle. Dense terrain, flooding, and unfamiliar paths could easily disorient even experienced explorers. The shallow drag marks near the riverbank may indicate a fall, perhaps followed by a head injury or heat stroke. Supporters of this theory point to environmental conditions. The jungle is alive and unforgiving. A misplaced step, venomous bite, or hidden drop into a submerged root system could end a life silently. The lack of distress messages may be explained by sudden incapacitation, but this theory struggles to explain the state of Nathan's recovered gear. His GPS device was powered off, not destroyed. His backpack was intact and placed, not dropped. His journal was mostly blank but had a missing final page. His camera footage showed growing unease, not disorientation. If he had suffered an accident, why was there no sign of trauma, no blood, no broken equipment? Why would he whisper about being followed? Theory 2, animal encounter jaguars, caimans, bushmasters. The Amazon is full of deadly wildlife. A sudden attack by a large predator could explain Nathan's disappearance. The breath caught on the GoPro might be fear, the snapping branch, movement through brush. Perhaps he was stalked by a big cat. But wildlife experts consulted by the Brazilian Federal Police disagreed. Jaguars, for example, rarely pursue humans. When they do attack, it's often sudden and fatal, not prolonged stalking. The drag marks near the river were too shallow. No blood, no claw marks, no torn fabric. Moreover, predators do not turn off electronics or remove pages from journals. The GoPro was found with deliberate care still in its case. The theory fails to explain those human-like details. Theory 3. Human intervention. The idea that Nathan encountered another person, or people, in the jungle gained traction after the fisherman's testimony. A barefoot man holding something reflective, dazed, lost. Could Nathan have stumbled into illegal activity? The Val de Javari region is notorious for unregulated logging, drug trafficking, and unauthorized mining. There are reports of small armed groups operating far from official oversight. A stranger, even a foreigner with cameras, might be seen as a threat. Some investigators believe Nathan may have witnessed something he shouldn't have. Perhaps he recorded an illegal operation. Perhaps he was stopped. His equipment searched, some items taken, others discarded. The missing drone, for example, has never been recovered. But this theory also has holes. If someone intended harm, why leave the GoPro and GPS device? Why leave behind anything at all? And if he was abducted, why was there no demand for ransom? No messages sent? No activity on any of his accounts? Unless it wasn't about ransom. Theory 4. Uncontacted encounter. The most sensitive theory, and the one that stalled multiple search efforts, suggests Nathan may have crossed paths with an uncontacted tribe. The region surrounding Marker 67 borders area is known to be inhabited by isolated groups who reject outside contact. While these tribes are generally non-violent, there have been instances where outsiders, intentionally or not, have triggered defensive responses. Nathan was aware of this risk. His last message, locals said not to go past it, suggests he was warned. But whether he ignored the warning or unintentionally drifted into forbidden territory is unknown. Still, experts doubt this theory. There were no signs of indigenous tools or markings near the campsite, no arrows, no footprints. And tribes that live without technology don't typically remove digital memory cards or sealed journals in fiber cord bundles. Theory 5. Voluntary disappearance. Another theory, though rarely voiced by those who knew him, is that Nathan may have chosen to vanish. There are cases, rare but documented, where travelers walk away from their lives, some overwhelmed by existential crises, others wanting to erase their digital footprints. Nathan's minimalist lifestyle, vague comments in his journal, and a certain melancholy in his final videos could suggest withdrawal. But this theory breaks down under scrutiny. Nathan had booked a return flight. He had plans to visit his partner in Argentina. His last messages showed focus, not detachment, and his digital presence remained untouched. No deleted accounts, no erased files. If he meant to vanish, he left behind all the wrong clues. Theory 6. Psychological breakdown. Could Nathan have suffered a fugue state? Jungle conditions, sleep deprivation, dehydration, sensory overload can cause hallucinations. His whispered line, "Something's following me," might be interpreted not as fact, but as paranoia. His confusion on camera, the silence, the sense of being watched, perhaps his mind began to fracture. Some support this theory by pointing to the eerie sequence on August 4th, where he stares at the camera silently for a full minute. Was it fear or dissociation? Still, it doesn't explain the forensic oddities, the tape on the canoe, the structured placement of his gear, the missing page. If he was truly breaking down, the scene should have been chaotic. Instead, it felt arranged, almost curated. Theory 7. Something else. Among followers of Nathan's channel, a fringe theory has gained momentum, one that steps beyond conventional logic. It centers around the image captured by drone flight D-17, a small metallic structure obscured by trees. Some claim it's an old military sensor station, long abandoned. Others believe it's a satellite relay or listening post, but the Brazilian government denies placing any hardware in that region. One viewer cross-referenced coordinates and suggested the object matched Cold War-era signal repeater stations used for jungle navigation. But no decommissioned maps confirm this. And if it's not man-made, some push even further, claiming the jungle holds something older, unknown. That Nathan's whisper wasn't metaphorical. that he really was being followed, that the GoPro didn't malfunction but was deliberately submerged to protect what it had seen. These theories are speculative, some might say absurd, but in the absence of answers, they have found oxygen. People want closure, they search for explanations, even in the dark. In the end, every theory returns to the same point: a man prepared for danger, a route mapped in detail, and a final whisper no one can explain. But then came something new. Not an answer, but a development. 3 years later, a piece of evidence that reopened every possibility. For nearly 3 years, Nathan Hale's case sat in a quiet purgatory. His family held vigils. His channel's last video became a digital gravestone. Investigators moved on. Tips dried up. The jungle said nothing more. Until April 2023. A group of ecologists working with a biodiversity research grant traveled deep into the Javari region to monitor a rare species of river dolphin. They deployed automated trail cameras along a narrow oxbow lake near the Itui River, just 11 kilometers downstream from Nathan's last known location. One of those cameras, model Bushnell Core DS, triggered on April 3rd at 05:43 a.m. local time. It captured 2 frames. The first shows dense brush, dew clinging to vines, the faint reflection of water in the background. The second shows a figure, barefoot, male, shirtless, head turned. The resolution was poor, but the image analysis team flagged the shot immediately. The figure's build, height, and facial structure bore a striking resemblance to Nathan Hale. But here's the detail that caused the report to escalate to federal investigators. On the figure's left wrist, partially visible, was a fabric band with a white patch. Enhanced images suggested it was Nathan's watch, a Suunto Traverse Alpha, custom strap, one of a kind. Within 2 weeks, Brazilian federal police returned to the region, this time with permission to cross into protected zones. They found the trail camera, they found the lake, but they did not find the man. What they did find, tucked beneath a rotted log at the edge of the water, was a small plastic pouch sealed with wax wrapped in fiber. Cord. Inside were 3 items: a micro SD card, a torn piece of field notebook paper, a metal key. The SD card contained 3 video clips, all time-stamped August 6, 2020, the day after Nathan's last known message. Clip 1 shows his face, drenched in sweat, eyes darting behind the lens. He speaks in whispers. "I know I shouldn't have crossed. They warned me, but I didn't think they meant this. I don't think I'm alone. I've tried turning off everything. No light, no signal, but it still finds me." He doesn't clarify what it is. Clip 2 is filmed in near darkness. Leaves rustle. Nathan pans the camera slowly. A faint light appears in the distance, white, unnatural. There's no commentary, just breathing. Then a soft, low-frequency hum. The clip ends abruptly. Clip 3 is corrupted. Only 2 seconds play. Static, a flash of movement. Then the frame freezes on what appears to be a pale, curved surface, either bone-white tree bark or something else. The note found with the SD card read only one line: "If someone finds this, tell Lila I went down river." As for the key, its origin is still unknown. It's small, brass, and unmarked. Investigators checked Nathan's storage units, digital lockers, safety boxes, none matched. Speculation erupted online. Some claimed the key was symbolic. Others believed it belonged to a hidden cache. A few suggested Nathan may have found something and hidden it. Brazilian officials made no formal conclusions. The man in the photo could not be positively identified. No fingerprints were recovered. No other footage surfaced. Nathan's DNA was not found at the site, yet the SD card was confirmed authentic. The voice in the video matched his. The camera used was one of his backups, and the handwriting on the note matched entries from his journal. To Nathan's family, it was enough. Enough to reopen questions. Enough to reignite the search. Enough to believe he might still be alive, or at least was, long after the world presumed him gone. His mother now refers to that final line, "I went down river," as a message of intent. "I think he chose to keep going," she said in an interview. "Not because he was lost, because something changed, and maybe he couldn't come back from it." The river has a way of swallowing time. It shifts, floods, reroutes itself, and so do the people who move through it. Nathan Hale vanished in August 2020, but in April 2023, a ghost walked past a trail camera with his face, his watch, and a story no one has yet heard. The case was reopened, but the mystery only deepened. As of November 2025, the case of Nathan Hale remains open, but unresolved. After the April 2023 trail camera footage and the recovery of the SD card, the Brazilian Federal Police reclassified the investigation from a presumed fatal disappearance to an active missing persons case. His name was placed back on Interpol's yellow notice list. A joint task force was formed with limited support from the FBI and U.S. Consular Services. But despite renewed efforts, 3 expeditions, 2 international press briefings, and a digital crowdsourcing campaign, no further sightings have been confirmed. The region where the footage was captured has since flooded. River levels rose by nearly 3 meters during the 2024 rainy season, wiping out most of the original terrain. The trail camera was destroyed. The path it overlooked is now underwater. No additional evidence has been recovered. Nathan's family has refused to declare him legally dead. His sister Lila manages all his digital accounts. His YouTube channel remains online, frozen in time. The final pinned comment on his last video reads, "He's not gone, he's just somewhere no one's looked yet." In 2024, she launched the Downriver Search Initiative, a nonprofit aimed at supporting searches for missing travelers in remote regions of South America. With over 75,000 followers on social media, the initiative has funded drones, thermal imaging equipment, and satellite data licensing for ongoing surveillance along the Itui-Itaquai River corridor. The group also operates a weekly live stream, a mix of updates, archival footage from Nathan's past travels, and viewer-submitted theories. Many volunteers now help analyze aerial photos and satellite pings for anomalies. Despite their efforts, there has been no new confirmed trace of Nathan since the April 2023 trail camera image. Some believe he died shortly after filming the SD card clips. Others believe he may be living in isolation by choice or by necessity. A few insist he's still trying to communicate. In May 2025, a new comment appeared on an old Reddit thread about missing travelers in the Amazon. It was posted from an anonymous account, linked to a VPN exit node in Iquitos, Peru. The comment simply said, "It's not just jungle, it's layers, like maps stacked wrong." No context, no response. But the username, Downriver Guest, the number 66 echoes Nathan's final known campsite, marker 67. The account was deleted 14 minutes later. Whether it was a hoax or a digital breadcrumb remains unknown. To the world, Nathan Hale is still a question. To his family, he's still out there, somewhere just beyond the next bend in the river. He was trained, he was careful. He mapped his route, logged his progress, and left a breadcrumb trail of GPS pings, photos, and voice notes. Nathan Hale did everything right, and yet, he vanished, not without a trace, but with just enough evidence to unsettle, never enough to explain. A whisper captured on camera. "Something's following me." A GoPro found half buried in silt. A torn page, a drone clip, a silent man caught by a trail camera 3 years later, a final note. "I went downriver." There are facts, there are theories, but there is no closure. Maybe he was taken, maybe he fled, maybe he found something, or someone, and crossed a line not meant to be crossed. The Amazon is ancient. It guards its own. And in places where maps blur, logic begins to fray. Stories turn soft at the edges, timelines warp, and what seems impossible becomes harder to dismiss. Nathan was not the first to vanish there. He won't be the last. But what sets his story apart is that he left us something behind. A lens turned outward. Footage, audio, coordinates, fragments of fear. He didn't just disappear. He documented the moment it began. And then, silence. For his family, that silence is unbearable. For the audience he built, hundreds of thousands who followed his quiet journeys through the world's wildest places, his absence feels like a question that won't stop echoing. Maybe you felt it too. The pull of the unknown, the fear of stepping 1 mile too far, the need to understand what others left behind. So we turn to you. What do you think happened to Nathan Hale? Was it nature, unforgiving and swift? Was it human hands? Or was it something deeper, stranger, hidden in the folds of an ancient place? Would you have gone further? Would you have turned back? And if you had heard something following, what would you have done? Let us know in the comments. Because sometimes the answers don't come from experts, they come from you. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, Nathan is still listening.